feels a thrill beyond compare.
The role the music plays is, I think, an intrinsic one, and probably with Bioshock more than any game we've ever worked on. And Jim and I have a great relationship from my perspective, because I come in his office and I tell him like really vague things about like what I want, and I play like some songs for him and some videos. I'm like, now go like make something great out of that. And then Jim does. You know, like on Infinite, I said to him I wanted to do modern songs, but in a period style. And then I like left his office, and he basically had to take it from there.
Yeah, well, it was for those songs to do a modern style was just to honor what those songs were and figure out what would work well in that older style. And
you got to find all the people,
find the right people that can pull it off. Yeah, just honor it. Yeah.
This is no time to hide your light under a bushel. Like, these people want to know.
Well, I mean, it takes a long time to find the right people and combine everything in the right situation. And it's a lot of kissing a lot of frogs to meet that prince, you know? I mean, a lot of things get thrown out and tried again, and, you know, we just keep passing it by Ken and seeing what works and what doesn't.
We talk about like a style, like for instance, God Only Knows, we had the Beach Boys song, and I remember seeing a scene from The Music Man where there's a barbershop quartet. So we watched that scene from The Music Man where they do a different song and obviously do God Only Knows. Then we had to find a group who can do that arrangement, and for all we knew, the arrangement wouldn't work. And Jim was really good at saying there were certain songs, I think that would work in this style, or I wouldn't. Like we had a lot of songs we wanted to do that, for instance, were so dependent upon like a modern percussion sound that there's no way that would have worked. Like the thing it's known for is a percussion, you know, a modern kind of percussion sound. But God Only Knows really transferred well. I mean, how were you confident that one would work from the very beginning when we talked about Barbershop?
Yeah, I mean, that was your idea, and I think the trick was just to find a arranger that could honor, really knew the style. I mean, we could have gotten a studio musician and done it that way, but to find someone that was really entrenched in that style and really dedicated to it, and then they just bring all this integrity.
Life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me. So what good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you.
And some stuff was easier, like when you get into like blues, for instance, like so much of modern rock comes right out of that. So once you have like somebody like the Creedence song,
Force and Son?
I mean, I said it was easier. I didn't have to go find the person and make it happen. I mean, what was it?
Well, that was all about just finding the right person to put it over. It was Jessie Carolina, who's an amazing, amazing singer. And it was, you know, she does one take and you're like, that was brilliant. Maybe we do one more just in case.
Check her out on YouTube. She's awesome. Like there's one video you showed me of her like singing like by a fountain or something with
I mean,
like playing a washboard. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Jessie Carolina and the Hot Mess.
That was really cool. But then we got to sort of look at all the areas of the game, and Jim would usually come up with like 5 or 6 or 7 ideas for it, and he'd mix it in. He'd actually get the song and mix it into a video of the scene, and then we'd go over it and talk about it. Lots of like, I'd be home at midnight downloading FTPs of videos, and we'd be writing back and forth at like 2 in the morning. But that to me, I mean, that may drive you. I really enjoy it. That's one of my highlights of the process for me.
Yeah.
I don't really have to do very much.
Well, it's also the only way for us really to be able to show it off and test it and see what it's like. So put it in the world, have you take a look at it and see how it feels.
The question usually is, are you supporting the scene or are you playing against the scene? And sometimes playing against the scene can be a good thing. Like we had a song in the first game during a very dark, violent sequence. We did a Patty Page song. Patty Page? How much is that dog in the window? Is that Patty Page? Or Doris Day? It's Patty Page. And it's really up and goofy, but it was against a very violent scene, and Jordan chose to do was it Tchaikovsky? What was the...
the March of Flowers.
Yeah, which was totally against the action, but it worked really great. And sometimes, you know, you have a piece that fits right in, like Django Reinhardt's Le Maire, that fit right in. And then some new pieces here in the new one. You know, Jim found a great Johnny Mathis song for the beginning of it, which when you first walk into Rapture, which was just really set the mood and set the vibe. And then, you know, we got bunch of other songs. Just look at the list here. You know, some Mel Torme and some. There's a Patsy Cline song I really wanted to put in because it's the most depressing song in history. Called "She's Got You," and that one I really wanted, and we got that one. So I'm excited for the soundtrack. The songs mostly I would listen to all the time. I do listen to all the time. I didn't want it just to sort of remind you that shit's going down. I wanted it to be able to comment on the action of the world and make it be a character, because Rapture was a character, Columbia was a character, and when you know the moment in Columbia where you breach the clouds and you first see it, and Jim has a piano in his office that is really off key, and we almost got it tuned. And it's good you didn't, right? Because that if you listen to it, is that Will the Circle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's playing Will the Circle Be Unbroken, but in probably it's substantially out of tune.
Yeah.
But it gives this sort of old time feeling and this sort of beautiful, sort of quiet feeling that when you pierce the clouds, after all that noise of the rocket, that just worked really well. And I always knew I wanted period songs for Rapture, but I didn't realize how badly the score would be necessary. And in Infinite, the idea to do the alternative versions of the songs came along pretty early, actually. And I think it took a big leap of faith on Jim's part to sort of like go with that and give that a shot, because it was a pretty weird idea. It could have just sounded really bad. And some songs we did just didn't really work.
Yeah.
You know, we tried some. Yeah. Not every song is made for that. But so we chose the ones that we thought did. I think the soundtrack is intrinsic to the game, and I don't know if every game I ever work on would have a soundtrack, but Bioshock is really tied to music. Really, it's really tied to artistic movements of the 20th century, in the late 19th century, the whole franchise is. And without, it's tied to the architectural movements, it's tied to the political movements, it's tied to the social movements, and to leave out music from that would be, I think, a real loss. And even Gary's score is very informed by the music of those periods as well, even though he's creating something new.